I'd just like to ask John Stewart of HACAN ClearSkies to just come up and say a few words on aviation, and it's linked with agrofuels. So John Stewart from HACAN ClearSkies, thank you.
Thanks very much indeed. Yes, aviation. Now we may feel we're winning some battles in aviation, but the aviation industry in some ways, although they've been challenged and threatened perhaps in a way that they haven't been for decades, nevertheless, I think they're still feeling fairly comfortable. And they're feeling fairly comfortable because of agrofuels. We all say, well, aviation is dependent on kerosene and peak oil, and aviation is a prime cause of climate change, and they smile at us because they know they've got their secret weapon, or what they believe is their secret weapon, growing somewhere in the poor world, and that is agrofuels. And I think it's only beginning to dawn on many of us now who've been campaigning on aviation for some years that this is their long-term game. Their long-term game is they believe they can continue to grow and continue to expand, and they can do it because of biofuels, because of agrofuels. And make no mistake about it, in my opinion, that's what they will try to do. And it's repeating the inequalities that aviation is all about and has always been all about. We hear a lot from the current government saying they don't want to cut back on aviation because, in their words, they don't want to stop poor people flying. Or the phrase they've got is they don't want to stop hard-working families from flying. Even better, hard-working British families from flying. And they try and bring this whole equality agenda and say it's theirs. The real inequality is that flying is still largely a rich person's game, largely done in the rich world, by the rich world, from the rich world to the rich world. And it's done at the expense of the poor world, because as we know, climate change, when it hits, it will hit the poor world first and will hit the poor world most acutely. And this belief by the aviation industry that agrofuels will come to its rescue is just a continuation of this deeply inequitable policy that aviation has pursued for years. Because what will be happening is, in order to fuel the rich person's game, flying more and more, land will be taken from poor people that's needed for food in the poor world to grow biofuels and agrofuels. Forests in the poor world will be knocked down so their ecosystems become even worse, so that rich people can fly. So it seems to me that, and it's great to be here, because I think what we want to do in the aviation campaigning is link even more and more with Biofuelwatch and everybody else in these campaigns, because together we've got to make this argument that this dependence on agrofuels is not just something that will be bad for the climate, it's deeply inequitable. It doesn't work in environmental terms, it doesn't work in equity terms, and if you look at the take account of the planet as a whole and all the wealth that's in the planet, it actually doesn't work in economic terms, because it's destroying the very planet on which our economy depends. So I'm really glad to be here, and I believe that together we can only go on from strength to strength, and I believe we can win. We've been winning some battles at Heathrow and on aviation, and I believe that's only the start of it. These sort of it sometimes feels when there's a relatively small crowd that we're up against it. Well, we are up against some multinational companies, no question about it. But I believe there is a growing united movement across the world which say enough is enough, that we want environmental justice. Thank you very much.